Hi everybody, Harry from Fog of War here. So I am doing a video this week and I'm going to look at some of the new NATO forces up on Team Yankee Forces Builder. I know a few people haven't used this before, so if you haven't seen it, there is actually an online forces builder for Team Yankee. As you can see here, all the nations are represented, and if you go into those nations, you can build your forces for them. Now, it's not a free service. You do have to pay. It's usually $1 a list. I spend a lot of time on here when I'm going to tournaments or doing things like that. And you only pay for the lists that you need. So, for example, all the new NATO ones are up here. Belgian, ANZAC, Dutch, French, and Canadian. I plan to look at my ANZAC lists, so let's just go and have a look at that. I had already bought the mechanized company, the Leopard Squadron, and the Cavalry Squadron previously. The new lists that came out, the Cav Squadron and the Scorpion Armoured Squadron, I had to purchase, so that cost me in the end $3 all up for all the lists I needed to buy to completely re-unlock all of this. So the plan was today I'm going to look at how I can expand my ANZAC forces. So I have some existing ANZAC forces. Now I was going to shoot some video of my previous ANZAC forces, and as you can see I started to do that, and then this happened. Jesus Christ almighty. Yep. While I was filming, one of my LED lights exploded. Flames everywhere, toxic fumes. So that shut me down for a day. It still reeks in here. So if you can hear birdies tweeting and things like that, that's because the windows are all open to still try and vent some of the toxic fumes out of my studio. Anyway, so my plan today is have a look at all the different ANZAC forces that are on forces here and what of my forces I can use, or what do I want to do to expand the forces that I have, because I have a Team Yankee tournament coming up and I want to be able to take my Australians. So one of the plans I'd had before was actually to use a Leopard AS1 Armoured Squadron list. Now I already have a HQ and 2 troops of Leopard AS1s. I don't think I've ever fielded the 2 troops together. I've done them as a single troop, but I have another one in progress. But I actually bought another box of Leopards. I think they were West German Leopards, and I'll build them up and add them to my forces. So now we have the option of the M1 Abrams as well. Just the 1 troop. The idea here is that these Abrams are being leased by the Australian government to replace Leopard AS1 losses in the previous fighting. So that's the rationale for that in the NATO Forces book. So if we go and have a look, this is the M1 Abrams armoured troop. I can have 2 of them for 23 points, 3 for 37, or 4 for 51. That's a lot of points though. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to take 51. But I tell you what, how about we take 3? So that's 37 points. I'll add a HQ into this. I'm going to take a 1 Leopard HQ to start with and just see where we get to, and a 4 Leopard troop there. I want to take some mechanized infantry, so I can take, I'm going to take 4 M113s and the 4 M60 teams, 3 Carl Gustavs. So I've got some infantry all wrapped up in this. Cavalry troop, I've got choices now. Now, I already have a cavalry troop with MRVs and LRVs. We get extra options now, so this is just updated. I didn't have to buy this list again. I'd already opened this one. So all the new updates for the different options you get for LRVs and MRVs are here. But I'm maybe going to think about some LAVs, some ASLAVs. So I'm going to take a 4 troop of ASLAVs. And you know what? Just because I can, I'm going to take another 4. So there we go. That's 69 points. And I've got, let's just have a quick look at the force, Leopard HQ, 3 M1 Abrams, 4 Leopard AS1s, a platoon of infantry, and 2 LAV Cav troops. That's not a bad start. So what would we add to that? Now, gun buggies or anti-tank Land Rovers are really, really cute, and I have taken them previously. I'm not sure they're worth the points, so I don't know. But what I do need is some anti-air, because somebody's going to bring a Soviet leaf blower list. Now, I can get 2 red-eye, so you only get platoons of 2. That's a little bit limited. If I take RBS 70s, it's a little more points, but I can have the option of 2 or 4. I have had success with those because people tend to forget them because they're M113s and they turn up and you go, yeah, but eat some missiles. So I am going to take some. So I'll take 4. That's 6 points. That takes me to 75. Interestingly, I can take Challengers and Chieftains straight in my support here. Artillery, helicopters. Look at what I get. M4 Skyhawks. I already own some Skyhawk models. I had been going to paint these up. I actually had a painting disaster with those. There's a video about that previously. But you now can take New Zealand A4 Skyhawks. So New Zealand had a bunch of Skyhawks they bought direct from the US. Plus they ended up with some of Australia's retired naval ones, went over and were converted for New Zealand use. So 3 and 6 points, that's pretty cool, you'd think. Except that you don't get the Maverick missile with that. If you want the Maverick missile, that's plus 3 points each. So instead of being a 6-point unit, let's just do this for a bit of example. If I arm them all, that's 18 points for this particular unit, which takes me up to 93 points. If you don't take the Mavericks, you do still get the CRV rocket pods, guns, bombs. There's a whole bunch of useful stuff here. So I'm actually going to take the Mavericks off. Gives me aircraft, 4 aircraft, 81 points. That's cute. So I do have some more support options down here. I could take some more infantry or some more... yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. Scorpion armoured troops, so if you did want to hang some New Zealanders off the end of your thing for some recon, let's do that. There we go, 85 points, and we've got New Zealanders coming to the party. What else would I take for a 100-point list? I really like Tracked Rapier. The model's hideous to build, but Tracked Rapier have saved me again and again. So what else could I take? The Abbott Field Battery might give me some artillery support. So there we go, 97 points. I'll take an OP. 98 points. I'm sure I can find another couple of points somewhere to... Oh, look, there we go. 2 anti-tank Land Rovers. I wouldn't actually take this list to a tournament. I wouldn't run a pair of Land Rovers. That would just be disaster. But yeah, so I'd get a ton of tanks, M1 Abrams, 5 Leopard 1 ASs, AS1s, some infantry here, LAVs, the anti-tank Land Rovers, a couple of things of anti-air, some artillery, a FOO, and some aircraft, and some New Zealanders. So, yeah, a lot of fun. You could play with that. I'd probably hammer it out a bit more. I wouldn't take the 2 Land Rovers, but hey, it's fun to play. Anyway, let's clear that list, because I was thinking for my tournament force, I might want to take an LAV Trials Cavalry Squadron. Let's have a quick look at one of those. So, I'll take a HQ. There we go. Let's take a pair of those. That's 2 points. A compulsory troop. They're only 4 points. I might as well have a bunch. There aren't actually any LAV miniatures I've been able to get hold of in Australia yet, so they're out of stock everywhere. But I'm sure I can get another box. I just need one more. Leopards or M1s? Oh, look. Here's where I can put some points in. Let's take 3 M1s to go along with that. So that's 47 points. Give me some mortars. I've only got 4 that I've built, so I'll take 4. Milan is always useful, and I'm going to take it with TOW-2. So 4 Milan TOW-2 missile teams, and their M113 transports for 10 points. That will give me AT-24, so I can have a chance against heavier armour. Now, this is a new unit from NATO Forces, and one that I'm really interested in. So these are cavalry assault troops. These are infantry troops that have some extra Carl Gustav teams. You can take this large unit here. So 4 M60 teams, 5 Carl Gustav anti-tank teams, and 5 M113s with the T50 turret for 9 points. There we go. So yeah, you end up with a bunch of buckets and a whole bunch of infantry to go along with that. These guys are great. Yeah, it's a bigger infantry thing than you can get from the mech infantry. So there we go. If I wanted to, I could take another LAV cavalry troop. Why don't we do that? So let's go and have a look at the force. HQ and 3 troops of LAV-25s, M1A1 Abrams, the mortars, Milan to crack some armour, and some troops. And I've still got a bunch of points for support options. So if we go to the support options, come on guys, where are we? There we go. Take some anti-air. 79 points. Let's take some more Skyhawks again. Take some Abbotts. So you get the idea. I'd be able to build that up and take my support choices out of that and end up with a force that I can take. Now, I'm a very defensive player, and this isn't a defensive list. So if I took this list, I would have to be prepared to be more aggressive and run all over my opponent. All these LAV-25s, the big heavy tanks. I'd have the missile teams, which are moderately defensive. They can stay with my infantry and cover objectives. But all the rest of it would be running around on the table. That also usually avoids you having to put a whole bunch of stuff in reserve. So I wouldn't have my M1A1 starting off table in reserve, waiting for reserve rolls for me to get them on. So that's a possibility, and that's actually quite cute. I'd have to buy a lot more stuff. 12, 14, that's 14 LAVs. I'd need 2 more boxes of LAV-25s. Abrams I've got, the mortars are built. That's the Milan missile teams are all built. I would need to find some more Carl Gustav guys. Oh, spelling mistake. Whoops. Never mind. Yeah, I'd need to find a couple of Carl Gustav teams to pump up my infantry, because my infantry don't have that many guys in it at the moment, but I'm sure I could do that. Anyway, that's the LAV Trial Cavalry Squadron. Let's clear that one. So the Cavalry Squadron here, I do have a ton of M113s all painted up. So if I wanted to take one of those, take a HQ, cavalry troops, I'd probably take 2 and 2 with the LRVs and the MRVs. So that's 12 points so far. Let's stick in some expensive tanks. Mortars. So this is very similar to the LAV list, but I mean, that makes sense because the rationale behind the cavalry and the LAV is the LAVs are replacing losses in the existing cavalry squadron. So as M113s are lost, they're being replaced by LAV-25s. Oh, and I can take some more cavalry assault troops. Let's take as many as I have miniatures for. There we go. So again, 69 points. I could stick another cavalry troop on there. That would get me a lot of buckets on the table. So again, this is not the same running rampant attack list that the LAVs are, I don't think. I'd probably play this one a little bit more defensively, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if you'd play them more aggressively. So let's clear that formation. So, the Scorpion Armoured Squadron. Again, we have a HQ. You can have up to 3 in the HQ. Let's just have 2. And some Scorpions. More Scorpions. You can never have enough Scorpions. Oh, and we'll stick some infantry in there. There we go. So that's kind of fun. If you wanted to build a New Zealand list, there's your Scorpion Armoured Squadron with some infantry. It's not terrible. You would have to add some anti-tank to that, so you would have to take your tanks in support, so M1A1s maybe, or maybe this is where you come and get some challengers. Let's have 33 points worth of challengers. There we go. And again, you'd have to have Skyhawks to go with that. Come on, Skyhawks. Since we're a bit short on anti-tank, let's pay $1 million for Skyhawks and arm them all with Maverick missiles. So we're in the 70 points. We've got all the Scorpions. This would have to be aggressive. You would have to run the Scorpions up and take the fight to the enemy that way. They are glass cannons, but you could scare the heck out of people with them. And you've got some heavy armor, aircraft. You would probably want to add some anti-air and some artillery to that to give you a nice rounded force. Anyway, so that's a bit of an idea of what you could do with an ANZAC force. I'm very tempted by the LAV Trial Cavalry Squadron. I really think if I built some LAVs, stuck some M1A1s in there, backed them up with my Australian infantry, particularly if I expanded my infantry to include the cavalry assault troops. These guys look great. They would be really hard to dig out of an objective. That extra 1 or 2 Carl Gustav teams, the extra infantry stand, that would just make these guys very solid in defense, particularly if you dug them in supported by Milan. That's my thoughts on an ANZAC force. Now, I am not a fantastic player, nor am I a particularly skilled list builder or game tactician. So I'm guessing that you guys in the comments are going to have some suggestions. So if you think there are better options for me with my ANZAC force, things I could take, please let me know in the comments. Belgian, ANZAC, Dutch, French and Canadian are all now available up on the Team Yankee Forces builder. For $1 a list for the lists you want to play with, I don't think that's particularly expensive. I enjoy going in and unlocking them and having a look at them. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this slightly rambly look at Team Yankee Forces. Everything's up here if you want to come and have a look. It's worth having a play. Thank you very much for joining me to have a bit of a look at this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.